All right, so the first order of operations here is warming up the dorsiflexion. So we're just going off the gas. A way to think about this, because what happened before is you were really kind of plowing plantar flexion to get there instead of actually dorsiflexing with this interior.
Which is the heel versus.
Yeah, so what you were doing is you were kind of controlling the plantar flexion back into dorsiflexion instead of pulling.
Yeah.
You were like controlling the push, right? Which is what we call plyometric, because we felt that in the calf.
Right.
When you should be shortening this muscle, not right. So, and just for the record, you should be able to do both of those things. But in your particular case, the dorsiflexion was the low quality one, right?
Yeah.
So just if you're talking to somebody about this, for example, it's not that you shouldn't be able to plantar flex plyo. That's okay too. But in your case, you were not dorsiflexing.
Ever.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're probably right about that. So you can do this with a band wrapped around the foot here, or you can just do this body weight. I'm almost thinking at least at the beginning, maybe just body weight. And even if you transition into a band after a couple of reps, as long as you're turning this stuff on.
Okay.
So I want you to think about both.
Which is, for me, it means I have to think about my heel moving.
Yes.
Not the toes bringing up.
Yeah, because your toes really aren't doing much. Watch. Try to just relax your foot for a second. Check this out. There's no real toe involvement there, right? It's you pushing that heel down. Yeah. And then hold. So you feel a little bit there?
Yeah.
Good. So if you want a little more resistance, right, you would just wrap the band around your foot here and attach it down below you somewhere. Just like that. Feel how you're getting more of that shin already?
Yeah.
Nice. And then push the heel further if you can. Yep. See how you got more out of it?
Right.
So I really need you to work towards that end range.
Right.
Beautiful job.
And that brings it up into the hip a little bit.
Okay, that's all right. As long as we're feeling this stuff
Right.
and not that calf holding on for dear life.
I'm trying to keep the calf
Perfect.
relaxed.
And then the second.
Actually, it doesn't ever get really relaxed, but it's trying not to make it.
Doesn't get all the way relaxed. Yeah, okay. So the second, not variation, the next step of this then, after you warm up and you do the off the gases, then you're gonna put that into practice with the toes. So you're gonna go all one movement, foot and toes on the gas. Other way. Yeah, so the ankle, right, and then you curl. That you might feel in the calf a little bit. And then before you start to lift the toes, you're gonna go off the gas and lift the toes. Look at that.
Yeah, way easier.
Way better.
So it's really, I haven't been using my heel.
Correct. That's what I think. Yes. That's what we saw today for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so just for the video, we have this, right? What was happening before, we're going off the gas. And those toes just don't want to let go. Ugh.
Which kind of makes sense because, you know, when my legs are real swollen, my heel gets numb.
Ah.
Which really.
So kind of locked up more even in the heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that went on for a long time until I got a lot of the big stuff under control.
Okay.
Which is what really distressed me about that earlier blood pressure medication because my heels hadn't been numb for quite a while.
Yeah. That's concerning.
It's like completely because the veins in that foot are pretty shot.
Pretty shot. Okay. How does it feel right now physically in the foot, in the calf, in the toes?
It feels fine. The toes are a little bit like I feel like they've been worked.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other verbal notes you want to add to this video?
I guess mostly I just have to really concentrate on keeping the heel involved. That seems to be.
Yeah. Because again, when you do these heel moves, whether it's on the gas or off the gas, it's not this and this. It's that and this. Right? It is the heel.
Yeah. And I've been using my toes a lot.
I think almost exclusively. Yeah.
Which is why I trip up the steps a lot of times with my right foot, probably.
Because you're not getting through this gait cycle, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion.
Yeah.
I think you're kind of, now that you mentioned, you're probably walking like.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing.
Nice. Okay.